Welcome to Tale Spinners, where we bring stories to life. In this video, we present to you Curse of the New, a tale of horror and heroism in ancient Nara. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel and join us on this adventure that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Without further ado, let's begin. In the heart of Japan, there is a city called Nara. It is a beautiful city with ancient temples, traditional architecture, and beautiful gardens. However, beneath its surface lies a dark and sinister secret. The story goes that hundreds of years ago, there was a powerful samurai lord who ruled over the city. He was a ruthless and cruel leader, and the people of the city lived in constant fear of him. However, one day, a group of brave villagers decided to rise up against the samurai and overthrow him. The villagers fought valiantly, but they were no match for the samurai's army. The samurai unleashed his full fury on the villagers, slaughtering them mercilessly. In the end, the samurai emerged victorious, but the cost of his victory was high. The bloodshed and violence that had been unleashed had attracted a powerful and malevolent spirit, one that would forever haunt the city. The spirit was known as the New, a fearsome creature that was said to be a mix of different animals, including a monkey, a tiger, a snake, and a bird. The New was said to be a harbinger of disaster, and its presence in the city was a sign of impending doom. For centuries, the people of Nara lived in fear of the New. They would hear its eerie cries at night, and they would see its shadowy figure lurking in the shadows. The New was said to have the power to possess people, driving them to madness and despair. Despite the constant threat of the New, life in Nara continued, and the city grew and prospered. However, in recent years, the New's presence had grown stronger, and its malevolent influence was spreading throughout the city. One night, a young woman named Akira was walking home from work when she heard the eerie cries of the New. She had heard the stories of the creature, but she had never believed in them. However, as she walked through the darkened streets, she felt a strange presence following her. She turned around, but there was no one there. As she walked on, the presence grew stronger, and she felt a cold breeze brush against her neck. She quickened her pace, but the presence continued to follow her. Suddenly, she heard a voice whisper in her ear, and she felt a cold breath on her neck. Akira turned around, and in the shadows, she saw the glowing eyes of the New. She screamed and ran, but the creature pursued her, its eerie cries echoing through the night. When Akira finally reached her home, she was shaking and trembling with fear. She locked the door behind her and collapsed on the floor, her heart pounding in her chest. Over the next few weeks, Akira began to experience strange and terrifying visions. She would see the shadowy figure of the New lurking in the corners of her room, and she would hear its eerie cries in her dreams. Despite her fear, Akira was determined to uncover the truth behind the New's presence in Nara. She began to research the creature and its history, delving into the city's ancient folklore and legends. What she discovered was both horrifying and enlightening. She learned that the New's presence in Nara was a sign of a great calamity that was about to befall the city. The creature was a warning, a harbinger of doom that foretold of a terrible disaster that would claim the lives of many. Akira knew that she had to warn the people of Nara, but she didn't know how. She tried to tell her friends and family, but they didn't believe her. They dismissed her fears as nothing more than superstition and folklore. As the days passed, Akira's visions became more vivid and terrifying. She saw the New everywhere she went, and its eerie cries echoed in her ears day and night. She began to feel like she was losing her mind. One day, Akira was walking through the streets of Nara when she saw a group of children playing. They were singing a song that sent chills down her spine. Listen to the news call, heed the warning of the beast. For disaster is coming, and the city will be in its feast. Akira realized that the children knew about the new and its significance. She approached them and asked them what they knew. They told her that their parents had taught them about the new and the disaster it foretold. Akira realized that the only way to save the city was to convince the people that the new was real and that the disaster it foretold was imminent. She decided to go to the temple at the center of the city where the ancient priestesses of Nara resided. The priestesses were the guardians of the city's ancient lore and knowledge. They were said to possess the power to communicate with the spirits and divine the future. Akira went to the temple and pleaded with the priestesses to help her convince the people of Nara of the impending disaster. At first, the priestesses were skeptical. They had heard the stories of the new, but they didn't believe that it was a real threat. However, when Akira described her visions and the children's song, the priestesses realized that the new was more than just a legend. They agreed to help Akira spread the word about the new and its warning. Together, Akira and the priestesses went through the streets of Nara, warning the people of the impending disaster. They told the people that the new was a real threat and that they needed to prepare for the worst. At first, the people were skeptical. They had heard the stories of the new before, but they didn't believe that it was anything more than a legend. However, as Akira and the priestesses continued to spread the word, the people began to take notice. They started to hear the eerie cries of the new themselves, and they saw its shadowy figure lurking in the corners of their vision. They began to feel a sense of foreboding, as if something terrible was about to happen. As the days passed, the sense of unease in the city grew. The people started to prepare for the worst, stocking up on supplies and fortifying their homes. One night, the news cries grew louder, and its shadowy figure appeared in the streets of Nara. The people looked on in horror as the creature roamed through the city, its eyes glowing with malevolent energy. Suddenly, there was a massive earthquake, and the ground beneath the city shook violently. The people ran through the streets in a panic, their homes collapsing around them. The news cries grew louder, and its shadowy figure loomed over the city. The disaster that the new had foretold had come to pass. The people of Nara had heeded the warning of the creature, and they had done everything they could to prepare. But even with their preparations, the disaster was devastating, and many lives were lost. In the aftermath of the disaster, the people of Nara looked upon the new with newfound respect and fear. They realized that the creature was not just a legend, but a powerful warning of the danger that lurked beneath the surface of their city. Akira became a hero in the eyes of the people, praised for her bravery and her determination to save the city. The priestesses of the temple were also hailed as heroines for their role in warning the people of the impending disaster. They were seen as the protectors of the ancient knowledge and lore of Nara, and their status in the city was elevated. Akira, however, knew that the city was not yet safe. The new had been a warning of the disaster, but there was still much to be done to ensure the safety of the people. She approached the priestesses and asked for their help in discovering the cause of the disaster. They consulted the spirits and the ancient texts, and what they discovered was terrifying. The disaster had been caused by a powerful curse, one that had been placed upon the city by a vengeful spirit. The spirit had been angered by the destruction of the ancient forest that once surrounded Nara, and it had placed a curse upon the city as punishment. The priestesses knew that the curse could not be lifted by normal means. They needed a powerful talisman, one that could absorb the negative energy of the curse and neutralize its effects. Akira knew what needed to be done. She remembered the story of the ancient tree that had once stood at the heart of the forest. The tree was said to have possessed powerful magic, and it was believed that its roots still remained beneath the city. She proposed that they search for the roots of the ancient tree and use them to create a talisman that could neutralize the curse. The priestesses agreed, and they began a quest to find the roots of the ancient tree. The quest was long and dangerous. They had to navigate the treacherous tunnels beneath the city, avoiding traps and dangers at every turn. But finally, they reached the location of the roots. The roots were massive, and they glowed with a powerful energy. The priestesses used their powers to extract the roots and transform them into a powerful talisman. With the talisman in hand, Akira and the priestesses returned to the city. They performed a powerful ritual, using the talisman to absorb the negative energy of the curse and neutralize its effects. As they performed the ritual, the city began to change. The earth stopped shaking, and the news cries faded away. The city was saved. The people of Nara rejoiced, grateful for their heroines and the protection they had provided. The priestesses were seen as the protectors of the city's ancient knowledge, and their status was elevated even further. Akira, however, was content to fade into the background. She had done what she had set out to do, and she was proud of the role she had played in saving the city. She knew that the new would always be a part of Nara's history and lore, a reminder of the dangers that lurked beneath the surface of the city. And as she looked out over the city, she knew that she had truly become a part of its history as well, a hero in her own right, and a protector of the people of Nara.